You please let me know. Okay, so I'll start teaching here, and then I'm recording also basically, and if you'll be having any problem, you can just intervene in between, and you can speak out. So what I want you to take today, it's a vector class, and we will learn today vectors in Java. So let's start in Java. So basically why we require this vector. Okay, vectors are used for so many things. The basic thing is what, if you know arrays. Okay, in arrays what happens whenever we create arrays, let's say suppose we have mentioned size of 10 elements. So if we have mentioned the size of 10 elements, then if the elements will increase, okay, during the programming, okay, during the runtime, if the elements will increase, the size cannot be changed of array. Okay, whatever size you have declared, that is fixed, so it cannot be dynamically changed. If you are using vectors, okay, if you are using vectors, whatever size you have declared, and if the elements will exceed that particular size, so its size can be updated dynamically. Okay, its size will update. So this is what dynamically it can vary its size, it can reduce its size, it can increase its size, right? We can add the elements to the vector, we can remove the elements from the vector, right? So many functions are available with vector, right? And the important thing, the difference is what the array is what having the fixed size, but vectors size can be changed dynamically. Okay, so vectors size vary. The second thing, this was the first point. Second point is where this vector is present, right? So this vector is present inside Java dot util package. Okay, inside Java dot util package. So you can write like this. If you want to import, you can say import java dot util dot vector. Okay, or you can simply say java dot util dot star. So it will, by default it will import all the classes which are present inside this util package. So this vector is there inside this util package. Now how to create the vectors, right? How to create the vectors? So there are two ways. First, what we will do, we will say vector, let's say v is what I have taken one variable. Okay, v, and then
Hello, sir. Sorry, you are not presenting, sir.
so your voices are out of sync. It's very must tasking to understand anything. Okay, so that's what I wanted to test. So it's not going properly, right, on YouTube? Can somebody tell me?
If we are listening from here and muting the YouTube, then it's working. But
But whether my screen is visible?
not here on YouTube.
YouTube, okay, it's visible. So uh, yeah, so here from Google Classroom I am not presenting. Okay, I am presenting from YouTube only. To go to that particular link, basically I want to test. I created here the link. I Google Classroom I started, because if that link will not work, then I'll start from here. So basically I wanted to test, because I wanted to conduct one workshop. So from all over the world I'll try to connect the people, and then if it will not work, basically wanted to test that. So I hope, Sushri, are you there? Sushri or Rahul or anybody can just tell me. So whether it's working on YouTube properly, right? So I can proceed. Okay, YouTube is lagging, but you can start the videos, okay, from the start. And okay, it's lagging. Okay. So what I can do, I can just close these. Okay. Now check. I muted this classroom, and now check. So I am mute on this Google Classroom. So whether my voice is coming on YouTube. Okay. Okay Aman, so you are saying अभी ठीक है. Yeah, I muted on Meet. I muted myself on Google Meet. So now check whether my voice and everything is coming properly, whether this screen is visible to all of you. So whether I was trying to explain about this vector.
Sir, now it's audible on YouTube.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Sushri, if any problem is there, you can directly call me or message me on WhatsApp. So I'll be okay, because here all the time I'll not be checking on Google Classroom. So you can just message me on WhatsApp. So I'm continuing on YouTube. Okay. So I was explaining about the vectors in Java, and I told you first point why vectors are basically vectors are used in lots of places, right? Mostly for for creating the shopping carts and all. And the basic difference between the arrays and vectors are what? Arrays can have only the same type of data, but vectors can have heterogeneous type of data. It can have integer type, float type, the object type data. So basically it will convert into object type data and then it will store. But the idea is it will have the different types of data, and arrays can have only one type of data. And if in array the size are fixed, okay, so during when we create the arrays, the sizes are fixed. So at runtime, if the elements will exceed, right, for example, if we have created the array with 10 elements, so if at runtime the size, I mean the elements number will increase, then the array size is fixed, so it cannot take. But the vectors can update their size, okay, so its size can vary dynamically during the runtime. It can reduce the size, it can increase the size, it can clear the elements of vector, right? We can insert the element, we can delete the element from the vector. So all different methods are available with the vector. Second point, I was explaining where this is present. So this vector is present inside java.util.vector class. It's there inside the util package. So whenever you are writing a program for vector, you will have to say import java.util.star or import java.util.vector. So both will work fine. Now I was explaining the third point, that how you can create the vector. So to create the vector, we have to write the vector class, and then write the variable name, whatever variable you want to give, and then say new and vector. Okay, so this will create vector. Now if you see here, I have not mentioned any size inside this vector parenthesis. I have not mentioned any size. So if you are not mentioning any size, by default it will take 10 size. Okay, by default it will take 10 size. So this is one way you can create the vector. Another way is what you can say like this: vector, variable name, and then new, then vector, and if you want, here you can specify the size, right? So first without specifying the size, and second, if you want, you can specify the size. But whatever size you are specifying, if the elements will exceed, then by default its size will be increased. Okay, so at runtime its size will vary, so no worry about that. It can vary its sizes. Then the next point is, I told you already that it can store what? It can store heterogeneous data type, right? So it can store dissimilar data or heterogeneous data. That is, the different types of data can be stored: string, okay, string, then integer, float, all different data can be stored, but that is not the case with what your array. Now let's see few functions which are present inside these vectors, and which we will be seeing live with the coding. So we will just explore few methods. First one is there, okay, first one is there, one method is present, that is add element. Now this method will take one parameter, that is object item. So basically, if you want to add any element to the vector, you can call this particular method, and you can pass that that element in the parameter, and then this element will be added to the vector. Obviously, you will have to have that element of object type, okay, that element should be of object type for this particular method. Then the second is one method is there, insert element add. Now this method will insert the element. So obviously you should have the object item first, okay, which element you want to insert. So object item, it will take two parameter and particular index number, because the function name is what, insert element add. So at which particular index number you want to insert. So second parameter it will take of integer type, int, and whatever variable you want to create, let's say int index. So basically it will take two parameters, first the element you want to insert, and second the integer type of index number, okay, where at which particular location you want to insert the element. Then the third method is element add. And index number it will take. So basically it will give us what, the element which is present at one particular index number. So we can pass one parameter, that is index number, and then it will give us that particular element. Then one method is there, remove element add. Okay, so basically if you want to delete any element from the vector, you can pass the index number to this particular method, and it will going to remove that particular element from the vector. So method name is what, remove element add. So we need to pass one index number. Then one method is there, that is size. So this particular method will give the size of the vector, okay, how many elements are present inside the vector. Then there is one method, clear. So this method will basically clear the vector, okay, if any elements are present inside the vector, it will clear all the elements. And then one method is there, that is get. So this get method will give us the element. So get index, and you need to pass the index number, and it will give you the element present at that particular index number. And then that is copy into, and this method will take the parameter of type array. So why we use this particular method? Suppose in the vector we are having few elements, and we want to copy the vector inside some array, okay. If you want to copy all the elements of vector in an array, then you can use this particular method, copy into, and you need to have one array variable, and you can pass that array variable to this particular method, and all the elements of the vector will be copied to this particular array. So again, let's see from the start. Add element, one method is there which can add the element. So you are supposed to pass one element inside the method. Then insert element at, which can insert the element at particular index number. So basically you need to pass two parameters, one is object item, and the second is what, index number, at which particular index number you want to insert. Then the element add will give you the element present at one particular index number. Remove element will remove the element from that particular location. So you need to pass the index number of that. Size will give you the size of the vector. Then clear will clear all the vectors, right? Then this is important one, copy into, which will copy the elements of vector inside array. And what I explained from the start, vectors can have what different types of dissimilar type of data, like heterogeneous data, not like array where we can have only same type of data. Second thing, it can vary its size dynamically. So in array, sizes are fixed, but vector can change its sizes. So at runtime, if the elements will increase, no problem, it can update its size. And third, in what package it's present, in java.util package. Okay. And one third point is what different ways to create the vector. So either you can specify the size like here, or if you don't want to specify the size, then also it's okay. By default it will take 10 as what the default size. So let's see the code now. I'll explain the first code in which I'll be creating the vector object, and then I'll be inserting few elements inside the vector, and then from the vector we will try to display all the elements on the screen. So let's go and we'll see. Okay, so if you see the first program, this one, I want to use what? I want to create the vector object. So first line I have written, that is import java.util.star. So import java.util.star. Why? Because this vector class is present inside this util package. So that's why I imported this particular line. Then I have written public class vector test1. Vector test1 because my file name is what? Vector test1. So public class vector test1. Then in the static void main I have written first line. This is how I have created the object. So vector vect is a variable of this vector. Okay, you can take any name, x, y, z, whatever you want. So I have taken vect. So vector vect equal to new vector. I have not specified the size, so by default it will take 10 as the size. Then the first element I am adding, so I am using one method that is add method, and I am calling that method, and I am saying vect.add, and I am adding one element. So Sachin I am adding to the vector. Then the second element I am adding by using this function add element. So there are different functions present. Okay, you can use any function. So vect.add element, I am adding Virat to my vector. Then I am creating one int a equal to 20, and I want to add this 20 inside the vector. So I am saying vect.add element a, and it will going to add this particular element in the vector. So three elements I have added. One is Sachin, second is Virat, and third is what? 20. Now three elements we are having. I want to display them on the screen. So basically three elements are present in the vector. I want to traverse through all the elements of the vector. So there are different ways by which we can display the elements of the vector. One of the ways is what? By using the enumeration class. So enumeration class, what I can say, enumeration is equal to vect dot elements. So I am on the vect object I am calling this particular method elements, right? And basically this particular interface will give me the elements of the vector. And then what I can do, I can say in the while loop till e dot has more elements. So on this e object I am saying till e dot has more elements. Till that time while loop will work, right? And if there is no element, then this will become false and while loop will be terminated. So till e has more elements, what I am doing, I am simply displaying on the screen. I am saying system.out.println e dot next element. So whatever is the next element is there, it will fetch and it will display on the screen, right? So by using this enumeration, you can traverse through the elements of the vector and you can display. You can also display directly, right? You can also display it directly by saying like this. Let's say, suppose I am writing system dot out dot println, and I am saying vector is, okay. So I am simply writing vect, and the square bracket, it will display all the elements present inside the vector directly. But suppose I want to do certain operations on each and every element. I want to basically traverse through all the elements. Then I can use this enumeration and I can visit each and every element, and whatever operation I want to perform, I can perform. Otherwise here simply I want to display it on the screen. So I am saying simply system.out.println e.next element, and it will display it on the screen. So let's compile this first. So from the start you can just see I just imported util, then vector object I have created, I've added 3 elements, Sachin, Virat and 20, right? And then by system.out.println, simply I try to display the vector, and then by using enumeration I try to display the vector elements on the screen. So let's compile this. So it got compiled. Now let's run this. So what I have inserted 3 elements, Sachin, Virat and 20, and which it's displaying on the screen. Okay, so it's displaying on the screen. One line it's not displaying, it's not printing. So again, yeah, I think it is not saved. Let me save this, compile again. So I am compiling it again. Yeah, so if you see here, let me clear the screen. If you see here, the first line is written vector is, and then the square bracket Sachin comma Virat comma 20. So from this particular line, I try to display vector all the elements directly in the system.out.println. So this is the line, vector is Sachin comma Virat comma 20 in the square bracket display, and then whatever you are seeing over here, Sachin, Virat and then 20, this is because of this while loop which I have written with the enumeration. So till while has the elements, and what we are pulling each next element, and then we are trying to display it on the screen. So this is what the first program is. Now let's go to the second program, and the second program what I'll show you how to copy, how to put all the vector elements inside one array, right? So basically I will going to use that copy into function method, and then by using that particular method I'll try to copy all the elements of this vector to array. So let's see that particular program. So if you see here, this is a program I have not made more changes, right? I try to keep it simple only, similar to the first program. So if you see here, import java.util.store, because this vector is there inside this util package, and then vector test2, here name is the file name, same this class name. So I have written the same thing, public class vector test2, and then by this particular line I have created the object. Okay, I have not mentioned any size, so by default it will take 10. Then I am adding one element, that is Sachin, and the second element, let's say I am adding Virat. So 2 elements I am adding to the vector. Okay, and then I am displaying the vector by saying system.out.println actual vector, and I am displaying the vector on the screen. So all the elements of the vector will be displayed. Then what I have to do in this particular program, I want to basically copy this vector into array. So I need to have one array variable, and for that reason only I am creating one array, and this is what string array I am creating, and the name of this particular variable is what I am giving, copy array. So I am saying string array copy array variable name is equal to new string. Inside the bracket I am mentioning vect.size. So this vect.size function will give me the size of the vector. So whatever is the size of the vector, the number of elements which are present inside the vector, only that much size I am creating the this particular string array. Clear? So in this particular bracket I am mentioning vect.size. It will create a string array. Now after this, what I am saying, vect.copy into. So the vector object is what, vect. Okay, vector object is vect. So I am saying here vect.copy into this particular method, and in the bracket I is supposed to pass one array, and this is what array I have created, string array. So I am passing that copy array variable inside this, and what it will do, it will copy all the elements of the vector inside this particular array. And then after this I want to display all the array elements, so you can apply the loop and then you can display the elements of the array. So here basically I have applied the loop. I have written this system.out.println copied array content, and then for loop I am applying. Okay, so you must be knowing this particular loop for each kind of loop, where what I am saying string str in copy array. So till it's there, I'll try to display it on the screen. So this is the basic syntax for this particular loop. So in this program, what I did, I created one string array and I created one vector. Okay, in the vector I have inserted few elements, and then I try to copy all the elements of the vector inside that string array, and then finally I am displaying the string elements on the screen. So this is my basic program, the second one, and let me compile this. So it got compiled. Vector test2. So if you see here, actual vector, so 2 elements I added, and this I try to display with the system.out.println. Let me show you this particular line. So it is the output of this line, actual vector, and then vect I am displaying directly. And after this, copied array content. So basically I am now displaying the contents of this array, right? So the system.out.println I have written copied array content. After that I will use this particular loop to display each and every element of this. So Sachin and Virat, 2 elements were there, and it's displaying on the screen. So once again, just see, I have created the object, then I inserted 2 elements, then I displayed it directly on the screen to just check how many elements are there, and then I created one string array, right? And the size of this one I have mentioned what, vect.size. Then I've used copy into method, and then I copied the vector content inside the array, and then after this I just try to display it on the screen. Now let's see one more way by which we can display the content of the vector on the screen. So that is by using the iterator. So let me show you that one also. Okay, so let's say here this is vector test3. Okay, here I am creating vector object, and then I am adding 2 elements. So v dot add test, and then v dot add 10. So 2 elements I am adding. So I know 2 elements are present inside this vector. Then how to display it on the screen? So what I am doing, iterator I is equal